Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you all here in the auditorium, as well as to those of you who are watching us online. Welcome to the official meeting on the occasion of accession of new. We will also later on present the European Diversity Masterclass, one of the projects. My name is Petra Schwarzkowska, and I'm happy to welcome you at the second meeting to celebrate accession of new signatories to the Diversity Charter this year. We have representatives of the European Commission in here with us today. We will discuss diversity and inclusion European priorities. This will be the agenda for the first block of the meeting, and after a short break, the official accession ceremony will follow. So, without further ado, I would like to invite Madam Monika Ladmanova, the head of representation of the European Commission in the Czech Republic. She herself is a prominent female figure advocating diversity and inclusion. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the European House. Thank you to the Business for Society for organizing this event, promoting diversity and inclusion. These are two values that belong to a wider framework of value of the European Union, of the European Commission. And nowadays, when there are so many dramatic events taking place in the world, it's even more important to realize how these values are for us, and businesses as responsible companies, entrepreneurs, and also citizens are here with us. I would also like to welcome Senator Adela Šípová. I'm very happy she found time in her busy schedule to join us this morning. And I'm also looking forward to the official ceremony and the acknowledgement of the companies, of the businesses supporting responsible business. And now I would like to hand the floor over to Madam Senator. Good morning. Thank you for the invitation. Being in touch with companies like you has been very important for me. I have been a senator for 2 years, and basically the topics that you are involved in, like inclusion, diversity, are topics that interest me as well. I also pay attention to the topic of equal opportunities, gender equality. I have also participated in many discussions concerning social businesses, and I'm sure we'll have a chance to discuss all these topics. And I'm really happy to be here with you because it's very important to really be in touch with you, with the representatives of businesses. I'm looking forward to our discussion. Thank you, Senator. And I would also like to ask Pavel Stern, Director of Business for Society, to say a few words at the beginning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, here in the European House, as well as to all of you who are watching us online. Welcome to this meeting on the occasion of the accession of new businesses to the Diversity Charter. I would like to say thank you to the representation of the European Union in the Czech Republic and the head of representation, Madam Ladmanova, for lending us this venue for the meeting. And I also want to thank the Senator Adela Šípová for joining us. And also welcome to all of you, the new signatories of the Diversity Charter. This is the second occasion this year. The first accession ceremony took part in May on the occasion of the European Diversity Day, and we will celebrate another one in 2023. This year, we have already welcomed over 20 new signatories of diversity charters, and we know that next year there will be 10 more businesses who will want to join diversity charter. We are very happy that companies are interested in the topics like diversity and inclusion, and that there are more and more companies that are joining us, no matter whether these are manufacturing or technological companies, focusing on services or admin activities. We are very happy that really companies from all areas, from all industries are interested in becoming signatories of the diversity charters. And it has already been said that these are really very important topics, and it has also become very clear this year that companies that endorse these values are very important for the entire society. Although the war that's taking place in Ukraine is distant from us geographically, mentally, it's quite close. And this year we have seen responsible companies endorsing diversity and inclusion, really getting involved and supporting the war refugees from Ukraine. We are proud that responsible companies are leaders in supporting the ones who are in need, and that they are role models showing the others how to approach this in an efficient way. And we very much realize that diversity and inclusion are important not only in the times of peace, but also when there is a war. Thank you. Good morning to all of you here in the European House. Good morning to all of you who are watching us online now or later. Enjoy the meeting. We are looking forward to working with you. Pavel said that companies are approaching us. They are approaching business for society, and this is really good news because there are many of you who want to join. And now we will start our discussion panel. So I would like to ask Senator Adela Šípová and the Head of Representation of the European Commission in the Czech Republic, Madam Monika Ladmanová. We're going to discuss European Commission diversity and inclusion priorities for the labor market and municipalities. This panel is entitled Diversity and Inclusion as Bridges Across Society, and we will discuss topics like gender equality, inclusion of Ukrainian refugees in the labor markets, etc. Monika, could you please briefly speak about the European Commission's priorities, about the topics that you're looking at? We agreed with, good morning, we agreed with the Senator that we will briefly introduce the topics that the European Commission is dealing with right now and what priorities are being proposed within the European Commission legislative framework that should also be reflected in the Czech legal framework. Basically topics that should support and further promote diversity, retention of employees, etc. I will start, and then I will ask Madam Senator to include information from the Czech context, since she's a member of the EU Committee of the Senate. So briefly about the situation in the European Commission. Until July 2022, I worked in the cabinet of the Commissioner for Gender Equality and Law, and I was really able to watch the legislative process firsthand. But just briefly about diversity and inclusion, how they are reflected in the EU legislative. I would like to split this into three packages or three areas. The topic that has been discussed for the longest time is the gender balance in management positions. And some 10 years ago, a policy was proposed. Just a few weeks ago, it was adopted on the European level. What it means, until 2026, the member states of the European Union should transpose this into their national legislation, ensuring that large companies' top managements will have balanced representation of men and women. The ratios should be 60 to 40. And it will, of course, depend on the individual countries, how this will be actually implemented. If there are no programs to support this, or if the companies do not comply with the requirement, then the states will have to decide how to motivate the companies to implement this requirement. So this is one area. The second area concerns work-life balance. And there has been a long discussion within the European Union how to adjust to the huge changes taking place in the labor market, also due to the digital revolution that we've been witnessing for some 15 years now, and that makes it possible for people who are caring for someone in their household to be also participating in the labor market. You know that the Czech Republic is not doing really very well in employing mothers of young children or those who have to care for a family member. Like the traditional approach is that this is not really possible, although there is hard data supporting the fact that mothers of young children can easily participate in the labor market as well, if there is a will, if they are supported. And there is legislative proposal in which the European Commission really focused on how to deal with the unbalanced representation of women and men in the labor market, because this is not just an issue in the Czech Republic, but also in other European countries. And the member states have already committed to tackle this issue. And the work-life balance policy basically looks at the elements that are called, like in the Czech Republic, they are called leaves, but leaves like holidays, parental and maternal holiday. But we very well know that this is no holiday. So the policy proposes maternal parental leave for both parents. The legislation also proposes it to be paid leave, because in some of the European countries, the maternal or parental leave hasn't been paid for. And also it takes into consideration couples of the same sex who may be parents. And there's also a care leave. This is something that we've had in our part of Europe, because in the Czech Republic, people or employees have been using it, although in some countries, some European countries, this has been quite a new concept. The European Commission has been quite flexible in this because many of these things that were proposed have been really very new for many countries. So the agreement is that there's like 5 days per year when employees can care of their family members. The policy also looked at flexibility and work conditions, and those who have children under 8 years of age should be able to ask for flexible work schedule. However, this this will not apply to all employers because there are some jobs, some positions where you cannot really provide for this flexibility. However, the intent was to look at the conditions at in the labor market and how to make it possible for employees to use this right to get more flexibility within their work contract. And the last part focused on data collection, which is very important, but I'm not going to talk about it in too much detail. So the policy, which was adopted in 2017, finalized in 2019, the transposition period expired in August 2022. So you can also see how long the legislative process, the European legislative process is, how much time it takes. Sometimes it means that by the time it is implemented, the situation actually changes. And when we were discussing the gender equality policy, we were kind of hoping that before the policy is adopted, the situation will have solved itself. Unfortunately, it did not happen, so the policy is still needed. And if I may just make another remark, if you're interested, there is a statistics called Gender Equality Index that is issued by Gender Equality European Institute, and for 20 years they have been publishing these indices, and basically you can see the trends, how they've been developing over the past 20 years. The scale is from 0 to 100, and you can imagine that none of the member states is anywhere close to 100, and you can imagine that the Czech Republic's position is not so good. Greece is the worst. I may say this, but if you look at the graph illustrating the trends, you can see there's white area, and 100% gender equality cannot be found anywhere in Europe, basically. The question is if we will ever get in there. So this was the work-life balance. And then the third large area that the European Commission is trying to influence the topic, it's the equal pay, and the equal pay was principle was already endorsed by the Roman agreements in 1950s. Basically, it was supposed to equalize the conditions of workers in individual European labor markets, and gradually this principle developed into an agreement that there should not be pay gap among employees in the same positions in one company, and however the difference is still quite large. On average, it's some 13% for the entire European Union. Of course, this is average. We know that in Slovenia the difference is just 4%. In Estonia, it's some 22%. Of course, we could discuss statistics, the statistical methods, what the job of the same or work of the equal jobs are, but we can clearly see that women women are getting paid less for their work. So it's clear that the gap is here. We have to discuss why it's still there and what to do about it. The European Commission tried to issue different recommendations how to tackle this topic, this phenomenon. Some countries tried to tackle this. There are about 6 member states that adopted their own equal pay legislation, and they even did it before the European policy was issued. And it was issued because this pay inequality has been proved, and a year and a half ago the European Commission issued policy on more transparency in remuneration. This means the European Commission does not say how much people should be paid, but it says that the people who are being paid should be paid according to a transparent process. It's in the Pay Transparency Directive. And of course, the remuneration is taboo. How much people are paid is taboo within companies. Employees are not supposed to share the information.
Should there be a bigger employer which is requested information on pay or remunerations of individual workers, they have to do it. And should there be a difference of more than 5%, they have to balance the difference. But it's all the figures are anonymous. This is what the European Commission is working on at the moment. The Pay Transparency Directive is still being negotiated. I would like to appreciate the Czech presidency, which has been really praised for its activities in this respect. The Czechs have already reached consensus and on this issue, and the European Parliament and the member states will be now working on the compromise text. But we can talk about that later. So these are the milestones, these are the building stones, better say, which lay down the principles of gender equality, diversity, inclusion, minimum pay, or minimum wage, better say, or the proposal to suppress hate speech on the internet. All these issues are also very important. But let me pass the floor over to the senator, because she knows much more about how the Senate in the Czech Republic and the politicians in the Czech Republic perceive this. Thank you very much. You've said a lot, and it's difficult to react now. The carrier of changes are businesses in most cases, and I would like to thank them for doing that. Should you have any more requirements, should you wish us to help you a little bit more, let us know, because your opinions, your positions are eagerly heard in the Senate. As to the representation in boards, for example, that will be debated in the parliament, and it's going to be a heated debate. I can imagine that. I'm sure that you'll be ahead of us, and at least I perceive it, that you'll be ahead of us. Big businesses understand that it's a matter of business renommee, reputation, better say, if the balance is really good. Men and women in boards, for example, or in statutory bodies, the more of a balance, the better the renommee of the company. In the Senate, 18.5% of women, and sometimes debates are very much impacted by that. At the moment, we are debating the review of the Barcelona targets. The Barcelona targets are recommendations to help European countries to increase the numbers of places at preschool facilities to help mothers work. I know many friends of mine want to go to work, but they can't because there is nobody to care for the children. Barcelona targets are currently set so that member states are motivated to increase capacity of preschool facilities. 33% of children under the age of 3 should be able to attend preschool facilities. We'll be talking about it today at our subcommittee for family affairs. At the moment in the Czech Republic, only 6% of children under 3 attend preschool facilities or kindergartens, and it should be 33, and the Barcelona targets are targeting 33, and are actually in the future will be targeting 50%. Yesterday we were talking at the Council of the Government for Equality, and we debated that with the Prime Minister, and we know that it's difficult to reach this goal. I apologize, but I feel that the high representation of men in the politics actually makes the politicians a bit blind. It's difficult when men are in these high political positions. They don't actually see it. If we had more women, we would also have more debates about that. Women don't want to sit at home. They want to go to work. On the European level, we had a survey which revealed that women don't work because they don't have anybody to care for their children. They would love to work and they are keen on working, but they can't. And in the Czech Republic, that will be the case as well. Just in a nutshell, we've been working on it. We'll be talking about it just today in our subcommittee for family. The rapporteur is Mr. Čunek. I don't know what will happen. We'll be also debating it at the European Committee. That's also a rapporteur, Mr. Čunek, and from KDU-ČSL, and I think it would be really good if you actually came to the meeting of the committee, at least some of you, and tell us what you need, what the employers need, not only what the employees need. The Czech Republic does not have enough qualified labor force. We all know that. But we do have them. We actually do have them, but they're sitting at home with the kids. And it's a pity because it's bad for the economy. We could be more advanced, we could be doing much better if we use this capacity. These young women are actually more educated than young men. You've seen the surveys, 60% of graduates, of university graduates, are women. And that's a great potential. We've invested money, public money, in these women, and we are now not using their potential. That's actually very bad. And it's been debated at the Senate. We were talking about it yesterday at the Government Council for Equality, and we shall be coming back to that. We shall be revisiting that issue in the future. Before I let you react, I would like to turn to the representatives of the companies, of the business world. We've talked about the fact that being a mother, it's actually a punishment in respect of the labor market. We were talking about father maternity leave, etc. We should give floor to the businesses as well. We don't have you represented in the panel, but please share your experience and opinion. It's not that it should be this frontal, that we've got the panel and talking and you listening. We've got a microphone which we will give to you, and we'll be more than happy if you contribute to the debate. Hello, Sodexo. Teresa Knížová, I would like to know whether the European institutions have been talking about the Scandinavian model of the parental leave. Parents actually in the Scandinavian countries, the parents have to divide the parental leave 50-50. Otherwise, they won't get the government parental support. I think that would actually be the right way through. I can tell that it's difficult for men to understand what's going on when you are home with the kids. It's not an issue for them. In most cases, women care for small children, that's given, and men just have their wives at home or partners at home caring for the kids. They don't have to do anything about it. But if this was the model, that would be probably great. That's actually a part of the work-life balance directive. Parental leave is of the same length for both parents, and one can do more. One can do more time, but then the government support is reduced because we really want both parents to participate equally. In the Czech Republic, we have not fully transposed this directive yet. It's not a part of our legislation yet, but I remember that when we were talking about it in the Senate or in the institutions, we've actually heard from the politicians that it does exist in the Czech Republic. You know, so it may be on paper, but it's not working in practice. In Germany, they have already introduced it. If both parents don't take the parental leave equally, in equal proportions, their parental support will be reduced. It's definitely been debated when we were talking about the key framework. In Scandinavia, they are even one step further. They are much ahead of us. But thank you very much for mentioning that. Back to Barcelona targets. It's a sad story in a way, because the original Barcelona targets were agreed on back in 2002, before we actually joined the EU. I don't know what our enlightened, in inverted commas, politicians would have said, but back in 2002, the Barcelona targets had been agreed on up to 2010. In 2010, they were not fulfilled. Then there was this review. In 15 countries, the Netherlands, etc., managed to meet the targets, but there are many countries which are very far from the targets. The targets are 0 to 3 then, years of age, then 3 to 7 years of age in respect of preschool education. In the Czech Republic, we had a lot of nurseries prior to 1989. And in the 90s, it stopped working in a way. But before 89, we had lots of kids in nurseries. And kids age 3 minus. And in the 90s, women were totally pushed away from the labor market. I remember in the 90s, when we were working on labor regulation, I remember that there were American experts in here. I heard that from a colleague. American experts came over here and Czechs, and they were really surprised. We're talking about maternity leave up to the age 3 or even 4 of the child. And they said that you're actually pushing one big group of people off the labor market. And the Czechs said, yes, but we are doing it because we take it as a tool of regulating unemployment, because you push the unemployment down if you don't employ these people. I hope that this attitude has changed. And many women are actually reluctant to go to work. If their child is 2, for example. If your child is 2 and you go to work, people look down on you. What kind of a woman are you that you're leaving your child and going to work? Siemens wants to ask a question. Thank you very much for the floor, and thank you very much for doing what you've been doing, and thanks for this event as well. I would like to use this opportunity to lobby. The senator said that we should come over to the Senate with our input. You know, it starts with the birth of the child, and as you've mentioned, the problem, it's been an issue what to do with the kids. I mean, mothers have to stay at home, and sometimes fathers stay at home. We've got fathers home with the kids. We've got 2 locations where we have our corporate nurseries, but we cannot cover 0 to 3 years of age. And what we really miss here in the Czech Republic is the infrastructure. We've got children's groups, but for example, the legislation does not allow for neighbors looking after kids of other neighbors. You know, there's this woman who doesn't work and she can take care of her neighbor's kids. We need to lobby for these kids groups which exist in other European countries. You know, quotas and okay, you know, how many women we want to have in our businesses, how many women we want to have in statutory bodies, but our company, Siemens Mobility, is a technology and IT company, and most people we employ are men. There are only 7% of women studying IT and technology. We cannot meet the quota. It's just nearly impossible. And when the child is born, the society starts perceiving the mother differently. Unfortunately, the stigma is that if you are a girl, you should be a nurse or an accountant, but it's not expected that you'll be studying IT and technology. Schools just don't promote that. Schools just don't support that. So this is yet another appeal to you. If we give more opinion to young girls to study IT and technology. We've been cooperating with an NGO, which is Chiquita, which is helping women study IT and technology abroad. But it should start with preschool education. Please give us support in this respect. We'd be more than happy if somebody starts visiting that issue as well. Thank you.
Well, I can understand perfectly. You can really see this in the IT business, and I agree. The influence starts in the educational system, because we see many things in there, because like not supporting this line of education in girls. When I was at a grammar school, I would always hear that girls are skilled in languages and boys in mathematics, but now we see the results. So I understand perfectly, and we really have to talk about it. I am one of those who is trying to bring up and shed more light on these topics, although it's not an easy task. Would you like to add anything, Monica? No, I'm sorry to hear this, because 10 years ago I was still employed by IBM, and at the time we had been discussing how to attract women into IT and technical fields. Perhaps we should start motivating men to focus on the other fields, because they are missing elsewhere as well. Thank you. I have just learned that I was among 6% of Czech women at technical schools. I had no idea this number was so low. And I think Pavel then wants to make a comment. I would just like to briefly comment on the parents and their issues. There's a program, Mothers and Fathers Welcome, and it's really the most successful program of the Diversity Charter over the 7 years of its existence. And we have actually managed thanks to our Mothers and Fathers Welcome conferences, to change the perception of the topic as such. We started with a conference entitled Mothers Welcome, and then the year after we started Mothers and the conference was entitled Mothers and Fathers Welcome, and now it's Parents at Work Welcome. So the concept has grown actually, and the companies who are signatories of the diversity charters, they are basically those who support parents at work. They are the drivers in the market, and they actually start supporting women, their employees. When a woman becomes pregnant, they start supporting her, and this may be symbolized by things like the woman is not disconnected from the company's systems. When she leaves for maternal leave, she's still getting involved in what is going on in the company, including the career growth. And some of the companies have already started doing this. Perhaps it's a topic or an idea for the senator. Perhaps you might try to organize a conference or a meeting in the Senate and to invite representatives of these companies, because they have many great ideas and they have implemented many great ideas already. You've mentioned the work-life balance, now the issue of regulating home at work started being discussed, but perhaps try to talk to the companies because they may also inspire the public sector. And we seem to think now, or we are starting to see that reducing or limiting work at home might actually hinder some of the processes. Well, I know that when the European Commission was drafting the work-life balance policy, the idea was to give men and women the freedom of choice, not to prescribe anything to anyone. And this applies also to the flexible work schedules. I will try to focus on the debate in the Czech Republic and try to see if we might maybe organize an event, a meeting to endorse this topic. Well, you have mentioned insufficient preschool facilities capacity, and we have actually been focusing on this topic as part of the Ukrainian refugees integration as well, because this has become even more urgent now. So I would like to ask Madam Ladmanova if she could perhaps say a few words about what the European Commission is doing in this respect. How is the European Commission supporting member states in the efforts of integrating the European refugees? Well, yes, there was a huge debate after the refugee wave broke out. Well, basically, the European money were made more flexible, and the European countries that were most affected, mostly Poland, Slovakia, the Czech Republic, Romania, were given an option to use funds from the cohesion funds for different purposes. In this particular case, they were allowed to use the money to support the Ukrainian refugees. This was the initial step of supporting the affected countries, and it was followed by the temporary protection, and this is a thing that hasn't been activated until now, until this year. And basically, it's a measure that makes it possible for the people who come to enjoy the temporary protection for 1 to 3 years to get some rights in the countries. It's for now, it's in place. It's been in place for 1 year. It may possibly be extended, and I think this has been a measure that really helped many people who had to flee Ukraine, because they were able to find jobs, to put their children in schools. And another part of the support is humanitarian aid, but the humanitarian aid is not being provided directly within the member states, as the EU rules do not allow this. The humanitarian aid has to be supported out of the member states, and there are some other ways of supporting the refugees who are not directly in the member states, but the European Commission, European Union actually had ways to support the refugees. The European Investment Bank that has some development projects also mediated the possibility of loans, especially those from the eastern part of the European Union, were considered not very considerate, and now many of these states actually received refugees from Ukraine. So it actually improved the reputation of these countries, because after 2016, some of the countries were not being considered very considerate in respect of the refugee wave. Well, now I have a question for the members of the audience. Do you have any experience with integrating Ukrainian refugees in your companies? And there's also another topic we might discuss, is the labor code amendment, including regulation of work at home. But we are opening the floor to the audience now, in case you would like to share your thoughts with us. We'll be very happy. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Procházka. I'm representing Toyota manufacturing facility in Kolín. We have many Ukrainian workers in our factory, so we have been affected a lot, really. We received some 800 European refugees within our region, and together with the city of Kolín, we are trying to support these people, basically family members of our employees, and we really had to deal with integration of the children in the educational system. But there's one issue that's really troubling us and that we have no answer to. How will the state deal with this in the future? Because we know that some of the incentives are valid and supports are valid until the end of March, but so far we have no information about how the government, how the state will approach the issue after March. And this is difficult for us because we do not know how to proceed, because the situation will not end anytime soon, as it seems. So we are trying to integrate the people who came, and the cooperation and the situation in the Kolín region is good. Now the situation is stabilized, but we would like to have a vision, and we would like to have vision for our company to know what to do, what to expect. If we knew from the government what we can expect, how this will be dealt with further on, we could react, we could work up something together with the city of Kolín, but we have no information. Well, I do not have any clear information for you either, but from what I know, I think that the support for the refugees will be extended probably by 1 more year, but I cannot promise anything. This is really a question for the Ministry of the Interior. And I have an older couple of Ukrainians in my household. I thought they would stay until the end of the year, but they come from Kharkov, so they have nowhere to go. They will have to stay for longer. So I think this support will need to be extended, because the problem will not go away, really. I would like to suggest that you also approach the Ministry of the Interior, what they are planning right now, so that you also know how to help your employees. Thank you. I would like to close this panel, this discussion. Ladies, thank you very much for this debate. And I will hand the floor over to the representatives of Business for Society. They're going to introduce the Master Diversity and Inclusion Masterclass, and they're going to talk about how the Diversity Charter project is developing.
Together with Kamila Chubanova, whom you also know, who is the manager of diversity and the deputy director of Business for the Society, we would like to introduce you to a masterclass, diversity and inclusion masterclass. We don't have much time, so we will cut it shorter and share with you the key information and also information about what employers will have available to them now in December already. Over to you. Let me just briefly present the project, and then Pavel will tell you more because he's been with the project for quite a while. He knows much more. Diversity Inclusion Masterclass is a project which is to strengthen inclusion in the Czech labor market, and it's targeting businesses that want to introduce diversity or develop diversity, and we are offering to them open tools to use in their efforts. The tools are actually two. There are two different tools. Diversity Compass, that's number one, which is an analytical tool in which companies can answer questions following different criteria. So it's a checklist of questions. And after having answered the questions, the result actually shows the diversity level, so to speak. This is an open tool. It's an online questionnaire. This is the cover page, which you can find on our web. Every company which wishes to find out more about their diversity status can fill it in online. Pavel? Thank you. Diversity Compass is an open tool, you're right. And it is there for all employers. It will have its English version as well. As Camila has said, it's for less experienced employers. The signatories have the DISA. It's a different questionnaire for more advanced companies. But this one, it's a part of DISA, part of know-how we've provided to the Czech labor market under the umbrella of our project. And the idea is that we want to open diversity and inclusion issues to less experienced employers. And this compass actually gives you a quick insight into your diversity status. Filling in the compass takes about 2 hours. One has to collect information that takes about a day before you collect all the documents you'll need, and the answer, the analytical results come almost immediately online, analyzing various areas. As you can see, there are 5 areas. To the idea of diversity strategy in respect of the public, clients, HR, support and development, education. the respondent receives immediate feedback. It's percentage. The feedback is in percentages, plus recommendations. And the percentages, the recommendations, it's a part of a big package. And then there is a set of tools provided. It's a masterclass guidelines for diversity, and also a package of videos and podcasts, plus activities we offer under the umbrella of this project. And we will be completing it in June 2023. Up to then, we will have different workshops on diversity, and we have signatories as a part of this activities. These signatories are either ambassadors or trainers or people or drafters of the masterclass guidelines. There will be 10 different companies which will be presenting their best practice in the guidelines on different issues. So this whole package of open tools will be available to less experienced employers. Now in December and in January, we will finalize the guidelines. We believe that this will increase the interest in diversity and inclusion in the corporate world. We believe that there will be more and more employers interested in diversity and interested in implementing diversity measures. We hope that that will roll out and will have impact on the development of the community of signatories of our diversity charter. These businesses will become mentors and ambassadors and trainers, serving example to others. There will be practical information there in the guidelines as well. It will be really drafted so that newcomers see that step by step they can build diversity awareness, and it can really be good for them. It can be good for all employers, and I would like to extend my thanks to all companies that participated on it and which helped us create the masterclass. It will be on www.diversity.cz. The compass will be there in the month of December. And later on, videos, podcasts also in the month of December. And then in January, we'll have the masterclass guidelines available on our web. Please keep visiting our pages. We will be communicating that as well, and we will keep you informed about the events that will come later. Over to Camila. We've got these activities available for you. These are activities which we have planned. We already have dates, but this is not it. We will have workshops available as well. This is just for you to see what's cooking for next year. In February and March, we'll be working on masterclass. We'll have a seminar with Harmstenden in Ostrava, and also with Albert on one of the issues covered by masterclass. In March, we've got the UP. That's a forum of business. It's one of the biggest events for sustainable and responsible companies. It's organized by Business for Společnost, and today's this conference will be on sustainability in partnership. sustainability in partnership is about innovations, about promoting sustainable activities, sustainable approaches. We will keep you informed, don't worry. We will also have an annual diversity conference, Parents at Work, Mothers and Fathers Welcome. That's April. Then June, that's the European Month of Diversity. I'm sure there will be many activities in there. We are very much looking forward to your activities, and we will support you should you need it. And the highlight of the month of diversity is the European Day of Diversity on 26th May, which we will celebrate by a big conference in the parliament under the auspices of Madame Pekarova-Adamová, and there will be more signatories. Welcome to the charter. On June 6th, we have a big conference, Give and Gain, on volunteering. That's about serving as volunteers, not only in Prague, but elsewhere in the Czech Republic. And before the summer break, we also have the summer get-together networking event of signatories. And in autumn, we've got yet another highlight, top responsible business, and that will be the 20th anniversary on 23rd November. Some dates may change, nobody knows what will happen, but it's not carved in stone, but we want to stick to these dates if possible. As my colleague has already told you, there will be more workshops, networking events, etc. We also have small talks. It's a novelty which we will inform you about, but it's a surprise for the future, so we won't tell you more about it today yet. There is a lot to be looking forward to. Everything will be on our web. We'll be communicating the changes and novelties in our newsletter as well. Should there be any issues you would like to raise or address, we will let us know, and we will organize events. Thank you very much. Now, let's take a short break. The short break is really good for small talks. Please be back at 11:20. So we will reconvene at 11:20 for the ceremony. Okay, 11:25. 11:25. We want to give you a little bit more time.
So the break is almost over. We're about to resume the second part of the meeting. And now we're opening the most important part of the meeting, actually. There have been many companies this year that expressed their will to become members of or signatories of the Diversity Charter. So we're going to invite them here. But since we're going to have to coordinate a lot now, I will explain how this will going to go. So I will ask representatives of individual companies to come here, get the microphone, say a few words that you would like to say for a minute or two, and then we will ask you to sign this kappa chart, kappa board that we have here. And then we will ask you to move over to the roll-ups, where you will get your Diversity Charter signatory certificates from the Senator and the head of EU representation, and then you will leave and sit in your chair again. So first, I would like to ask Gold signatory, Continental Czech Republic, and the head of HR of the company, Mr. Roman Nosko. And there's a change. There has been a change in the person that's signing. Good morning. Good morning on behalf of Mr. Nosek. My name is Jędřiška Oberek, and I am in charge of the employer brand in Continental. I have to excuse my colleague, Mr. Nosko, who was not able to come, but I would like to ask my colleagues who joined me to take part in this meeting. Good morning. Thank you very much for this great opportunity to take part in this exceptional initiative like signing of the Diversity Charter. Even during the very short break that we've just had, we were able to open so many interesting topics and that we would like to discuss further. My name is Nikola Lukovičová, and in one of our factories in Brandýs nad Labem, I'm in charge of communication. And now I will hand over to my colleague Petra. My name is Petra Bejšovcová, and I am assistant to the director, Mr. Bendák, the director of the facility in Brandýs nad Labem. On behalf of Continental and 10,000 employees of 30 different nationalities, I would like to thank you. We are a large Conti family in the Czech Republic, and we're really happy to confirm publicly our everyday commitment and our diversity, inclusion, and equal opportunities efforts. Our foundations have been really well laid. They are supported by our company corporate values. We have also signed the German Diversity Charter. It was our mother company in 2008, and we have also committed to ensure 25% representation of women in the management of our company. We appreciate individual differences in our company, and we know that different perspectives and diverse experience is really very important for really engaged and motivated teams. They also help drive creativity and innovation, and that's how we contribute to the future of mobility as well as to the future of our company and the society at large. And we know this is a journey. We are aware of the fact that this is a journey. It's a journey of learning new things. It's a journey of forgetting some things that we do not want to do anymore. And we are really happy to be part of the community of engaged and highly motivated, very vocal companies, and that we can make the opportunities equal and create respecting environment within the Czech communities together with the other companies. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you in here today. Now I would like to ask you to sign the board, the poster on behalf of the company. Well, I'm wondering if I should sign it. Thank you very much. And now, here is your certificate. And a photo together as well. Thank you, Continental. And now I would like to invite representatives of Forvia, Madam Ivana Burkoňová, Talent Acquisition and Communication Manager, Czech Republic, and her colleague Lenka. No, she's not here today. Excellent. So the microphone is yours. Thank you. Thank you. My position has changed. I'm talent manager as well. I represent the company Faurecia. We merged together with Hella company. So now we've become Forvia Faurecia this year. These are two companies that are two independent and legal entities so far, but we are slowly merging. We are really happy to be able to become part of this problem, part of this initiative, and to be able to learn how to do things rather than not do them. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now the next gold signatory, Toyota Motor Manufacturing, and Mr. Procházka. We've heard him before, and he's also coming, joined by his colleagues. Good morning. My name is Jiří Procházka. I am HR manager of Toyota. So together with my colleagues, Anna Fiatek and Kristina Sikorová, we represent Toyota company in here. My colleagues are also working for the HR department, and we are also in charge of diversity and inclusion in the company. Diversity and inclusion is really one of the key topics in Toyota. The company is well aware of the fact that this is part of modern business, and Toyota wants to create an environment that will be welcoming for all groups, environment that will be pleasant and nice to be for all employees, giving them opportunities. In the priorities in the Kolín facility include employing of different nationalities. We have over 20 nationalities in our facility in Kolín, and also employment of women. Signing the Diversity Charter is just a logical step for us. We want to contribute to the discussions on this topic, and we want to use this opportunity and to start talking about how to tackle these issues together with you, because these are complicated questions. There are no easy solutions, but we'll be really happy to discuss them with you. We're looking forward to our cooperation with you. Thank you. Please remember to sign the poster. And now I will invite the rest of the signatories in alphabetic order. Company Beersdorf and Rogier Bardajonge, the general director of the company.
Good morning. I will proceed in English. And I'm happy that we can, be here today and also be vocal about it, and share our thoughts and our opinion on this important topic. And yeah, it's a great day for us to be here. And thanks for having us.
The next on the list is Malfini and Mr. Jan Chovanec, Executive Director of the company. Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing I would like to say is to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. Malfini is the largest Central European manufacturer of work clothes and textiles. And related to this is one interesting fact. Over 25 years of our history, we have always had to deal with diversity and inclusion, because our founders basically founded the company as an international company. So we have always worked with many different nationalities. And I know that someone here mentioned that it's a journey of learning things and unlearning things. And this is something we've actually been through in our company over the 25 years of our history. Of course, we have strategies, and we are trying to approach this and manage this. And I also liked someone saying, and I also share this thought, diversity and inclusion are gaining on business importance for companies as well. you've been talking about flexibility of work schedules, about extending the possibilities of preschool care, then we can actually get more qualified employees. So if these initiatives or these ideas can be implemented practically, we will actually have a larger pool of skilled labor to work with. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for giving me the word. The next signatory is Medtronic Czechia, represented by Kateřina Nedvědová, HR Manager for Central and Eastern Europe. Good morning. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Katka Nedvědová. I am HR Manager for the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, and Poland. So it's not all of the Eastern Europe. But I'm really happy and pleased that I can be here on behalf of Medtronic Czechia and that I can support the ideas that Medtronic has been built since its beginnings. Diversity and inclusion are part of the company's DNA. They are one of the pillars that Medtronic was founded on. The mission of the company is to improve lives of people all around the world, millions of people, regardless their social status. And we are greatly honored and we are very much looking forward to the cooperation within the Diversity Charter. We believe that we'll be able to be more active in spreading these ideas further. And unfortunately, our CEO was not able to be here today, but he says that where there's will, there's way as well. The next signatory is the National Agency for Communication and Information Technologies.
Next is NN Životní pojišťovna branch for the Czech Republic. And Marek Šelekens, Chief Executive Officer, and Hedvika Hola, Chief HR Officer.
Thank you. Everyone here. I'm Marek Schellekens. I'm the CEO. Schellekens, yeah, it's almost impossible to pronounce. Anyway, I'm the CEO of NN. NN is an insurance company. We celebrated 30 years on this market, and we're the number 3 in life insurance here. Yeah, I'm very proud to be here, in all honesty. The reason is, by the way, I love the companies that are also willing to sign it, and we're happy to be part of it. This is a hot topic within NN Group, but also here in the local market becomes a more and more heavily discussed topic. I mean, diversity to me is not only about about all the different preferences, etc. But for me, it's much more about being able to bring your full self to work. Yeah, so for me, often, especially in insurance companies, we are quite rational beings. So therefore, if you are able to create meetings which are much more inclusive and where every single person is able to share what they truly mean and actually to put also emotions on the table, then I think we will be able to make a big difference. Now, this is what it means to me, and this is also how we discuss it there. Now, I'm very much looking forward to also hear all your opinions and to see how we can make it better, because I truly believe if somebody can bring their true selves to work and create that safe environment for the other person to bring their true selves to work, yeah, then we will start making a difference. Yeah. So thank you very much for allowing us to be part of you, and looking forward to future discussions.
Over to Siemens Mobility, Robert Pishnot, Head of Processes and Tools, and Jana Harel, Head of P&O. Oh, Planning and Organization, okay. P&O. No, P&O is fire protection, actually. But in here, it's really HR. In our company, P&O stands for HR. And I'm very happy to be a member of a company, or a representative, better say, of a company that openly signs up to diversity and the diversity charter. My name is Libor Pishnot. I'm also from Siemens Mobility. And as Jana has said, we are honored to be here in this company of other business entities. Siemens Mobility is a good example of mobility and diversity. We've got many different nations in our business. We've got men and women paid equally. I think that if we sign, we will definitely fulfill and pursue the diversity charter targets. The very last company, Sodexo Pass Czech Republic, Teresa Knížová, Head of Communication. Hello, everybody. I'm honored to be here in this company of companies that go for diversity. We actually embarked on this path just when we were launched, because diversity and CSR, that's something what is really in the heart of our company. We were the first signatories back in 2014. This is when we first signed diversity charter, and because it's work in progress, and we need to keep reminding ourselves of our values. We are here again, signing again, to remind ourselves of the importance of diversity. This year, diversity is the top priority. We are working on a project to support Czechitas, and we are happy that you're cooperating with Czechitas. And yet another priority of ours is sustainability, and we've got really ambitious targets in the area of sustainability. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Thank you very much for being this fast. It's really good that we actually renewed the signature of Sodexo. It's so symbolic. Would you please, for a family photo now? Everybody who was signing over for the family photo, please. Deliver the concluding speech, and Pavel Stern will be the last speaking. Thank you very much for the floor. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for attending this ceremony of joining the Diversity Charter. Diversity Charter is open for signature in all European member states. In some EU member states, we have a lot of signatories. In some, it's not. So we're somewhere in the middle. It's a prestigious club which you have just joined, and I recommend to nurture your membership and to attend events, to exchange views and expertise, and not only here in the Czech Republic, but also within the EU. Every activity develops with new people coming in, and this activity will develop with you coming in. These times are difficult. We don't know what's coming next year, what's coming in the future. We are all. Thank you, Monika. Thank you, Monika, for being here. On behalf of the European Commission here in the Czech Republic, thank you for supporting today's event, for giving us a roof over our head for this event. I'm very much looking forward to cooperating with you in the future. Thank you, Senator, for being with us. Thank you for speaking here, and I hope that we will be meeting in the future as well. In the Senate or at events for responsible companies. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining the Charter, for signing to our values. I firmly believe that we will be motivating for you, that we will never let you down with our activities. My thanks go to the Business for Society team. You know Kamila Chubanova, you know Veronika Lepichova, our office manager, and who prepared this event. She was very important. And also Veronika at the back is a member of the diversity team. When you're working with this You may turn to her for help. Thanks to the interpreters as well. And thanks to those who are with us online, and Petra Schwarzkowska. Thank you very much for being the moderator today. Have a nice day. Happy Advent and Merry Christmas to you. One more thing, we've got refreshments and for you here, please enjoy and mingle, because that's important. Mingle and network.